Hello, Raleigh. This is citizen reporter Robert Courts coming to you from the Your Backyard Raleigh News Network. And today I'm very pleased to have as my guest Tululope Omakaiey, who is running for Raleigh City Council District C. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Robert. I appreciate it.
Well, we have not old-time friends like some of the people I get to interview, but I have seen you very involved in the local economy. And I was tickled to death, frankly, to hear you were running for office. Can you share a little bit why you are so motivated to put yourself out like this?
Yes. Raleigh has my heart. Raleigh is a major part of my life. I am originally from Chicago, but me and my family moved here to Raleigh, North Carolina in about 97. So I finished high school here at Enloe.
Nice.
And just to give a little background on myself, I'm running because I believe that we need a champion that understands a lot of the issues that we're facing here in the city. I have experienced homelessness as a youth. We lived in a semi-truck. I've experienced housing insecurity living with family and when we had funds living in hotels. And my oldest brother is a retired Marine. He moved us down here to Raleigh because he saw life taking a very negative shift for us. And I can honestly say I don't know who I would be if it weren't for that move. I embraced it fully. This was the place where I met the first teacher who really took an interest and engaged with me and mentored me, Miss Harrison at Enloe. She was my business teacher. She did public speaking, which I think has helped me to this day. But those are reasons. I love the city and I'm concerned about the direction that the city is going in. I am the former chair of the Raleigh Transit Authority, and having the opportunity to be in governance of the city has allowed me a little bit more access to some of what's going on to be able to understand the issues like transportation, housing, youth engagement. And I don't think that the citizens have been involved enough in the decisions being made in the city. I don't think that like small businesses have been considered and put at the top of the list for things that need to be considered in the city. Small businesses make the city go. It's the reason why people come to visit.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to go back to what you said just a minute ago. First of all, as a Raleighite, you're getting involved because it's your hometown, right?
Yes.
And that is needed. Also, like that you didn't always grow up here, because I didn't grow up here either, but I too fell in love with Raleigh. I was at the age of 18, and that is representative of so many of our citizens. So I really feel like that's important, but not to gloss over your experience in the transit. Could you tell us a lot more? You've had many years of advocating in Raleigh. Could you talk specifically about that, please?
Yes. So I've worked with a lot of different groups here, served on a lot of different boards and commissions and working groups. Like right now, I'm on the working group for reimagining the DMV location. I founded a nonprofit over 13 years ago, called Evolve Mentoring. We work with youth and young adults teaching life skills. We lead the My Brother's Keeper initiative for Wake County. That is an initiative started by President Obama to close the achievement gap for youth of color. In that space, we have been a collaborator. We have been a coalition builder, a backbone for a lot of different organizations supporting their work to move the needle for progress for our youth in the community. We know that that's the future, and that's where the city, the direction the city is going. And sometimes they're forgotten. But I've been in those spaces. Again, Transit Authority, I'm the first person of color to chair the Transit Authority.
Nice.
And that means something because that brings a different perspective to the role and to what we pay attention to. I was very, very, very much a supporter of the city workers, the operators of our buses, making sure their voices were heard, advocating for them, and giving them advice and direction on how to make sure that they got what they needed. And that
I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt, but what you have done on transit and your voice, that's how I came to know you. I've seen you stand up for the employees of Raleigh time and again. And that's really my first experience with you, but it's so endearing. You come at this with a completely holistic approach. And I see a lot of candidates running for these offices today that stand up and go, I can do the job, with zero experience, while you have almost infinite experience.
I'm going to be honest, that's a bit of the frustration, I think, in this. having to make sure that people know who you are, prove yourself, prove your, if some people know me from transit like yourself, but some people didn't watch those, didn't show up to the meetings, or didn't watch the meetings or things like that. So they don't really know me from that place. And my main opponent, the incumbent, he has name recognition. So making sure that I'm getting out there to say, hey, this is my resume. I've led with heart from the beginning. I am a person that can balance practicality with morality. I am a person that's going to care for community and city and make sure that those outcomes are the first in the priority of our decision making. I envision Raleigh being an amazing place that's diverse and unique and has its own vibe and that's inviting, but also we want some of the people go home, right? But we want this to be a place where people love to come visit. And I want to be a part of making that a reality in the future.
Well, that's fantastic. Your work on transit is well known to us government geeks, but that's not your sole. You've done a lot more. Your experience with Raleigh's youth is also very well established, but my audience probably doesn't know. Would you just share a moment or two about that?
Yes. So we've hosted youth engagement programs. We have given scholarships to young adults. We have donated to programs. I actually have a bench named after me at AMI Kids Infinity Wake for their tiny library, which brought tears to my eyes when they unveiled that. I've worked with other organizations. We have a book club, and I don't want to run off camera, but I don't have the book with me in my office right now. But we have a book club called the James Baldwin Book Club, where we work with young adults, mostly boys of color, to increase their literacy rates, to give them higher success rates in life. They've worked together. They're brilliant. They've written this amazing graphic novel that's available now on Amazon called Restore the Heart. And that's an opportunity for us to expose young people to other things. We have open bank accounts for youth. Nice. We've established over 175 bank accounts in the Triangle for youth and young adults to make sure that they are learning how to save money and they are investing funds. At the onset of that program, we had a group of kids save over $3,500. No, excuse me. It was actually $6,800 over the summer, and worked with the Latino Community Credit Union to match those funds for the kids and open CD accounts so they know how to continue to save and invest. We've done so much that a lot of it will slip my mind.
Well, you've been an advocate for Raleigh for years, if not decades.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's in my heart. Even when I was in high school, raising funds to donate supplies to youth in need, to younger kids in need, organizing. I'm a graduate of the North Carolina Central University, organizing the first march to the polls for early voting at Central. I've been involved, but I've been involved solely because it's the right thing to do. There has never been a direction that I was running in with it or doing this because I'm going to get this. Right. It's just, I love community. I love people. And I love the potential that we have if we come together and have the opportunity. With Evolve, we have a motto. It's teach, and it stands for through education and exposure, anything can happen. And I am a result of that. I am a result of evolution. I am not the person I was as a kid. I used to get into a lot of trouble, but that is what having somebody who cares, that is what having someone or community that has grace for you and sees greatness in you and then invest that time in you. So my goal is to be that has been for me, for as many youth as I can possibly be for.
Well, I think the way I like to sum up what you are, candidate Omakaiey, is you're a leader with a servant's heart, right? Yeah. You're not running in District C with your personal agenda or necessarily to say, I have to make these wins. You want to make the wins for the citizens, for the district, and for Raleigh at all. You're driven by a servant's heart as experienced in your decades of advocacy. So that really is a wonderful way to come about leadership.
Thank you. And I am. I mean, it's not always easy. Sometimes leading with a servant's heart means that you're going to get dinged up, right? The people with the good hearts are the ones you get poked on, but you can't let that, as much as you have to learn and navigate that, you can't let that break your heart. And it's not easy when you're seeing the different dynamics that go into why things go the way they go in community and systems that are inequitable, and how some of those systems are set up to be self-sustaining, and you're trying to be the cog in that wheel. It's not at all easy, but I think that there have been too many people who have fought and have died for us to move forward progressively. And I'm honored to, at this point, say that I can sit, and I'm not in the leagues of, and I don't have that big head that I'm in the league of these icons like Shirley Chisholm and people of that nature, but those are my North Star, those people who came before us to make sure, and we have to make sure that there are people that want to do that today. That's why it's important for me to be in space of leadership with youth, because they are the future. They're going to be the future leaders. And I want to make sure that I'm helping polish them up to be leaders that will also lead with heart, and not lead from the perspective of their pocket, and not lead from the perspective of their ego, but lead because they want to leave this world better than we found it, even if we don't get to live in it while we're here.
Well, that's fantastic. Before you go, I do want to touch on one more area where I've seen you shine, and that's in housing in Raleigh. We do have a bit of a housing crisis, really. And this is another area where you've had some advocacy and some input. Could you just take a minute or two to tell us about that, please?
Yeah, I think that we need to, like I said, even with the DMV working group, part of that is making sure that we develop affordability, especially with it being property that's owned by the city.
Yes, ma'am.
And having people at the table that's going to hold the city accountable to making sure we're providing the supply to meet the demand to bring down the cost of living here. And I really am advocating also, hopefully being elected, for a study to be done in the city so we know what is the root cause of our issues with housing, with youth engagement, with community engagement. I believe that the community engagement should be a citizens board, like the transit authority, and let the community talk about what they're seeing when it's coming to housing, what their needs are when it's coming to housing, like mixed income, like our ability to make sure that our city workers can live in the city, in the area that they're working.
Right.
I think that Raleigh has an opportunity to make some innovative choices, and this election is extremely important, not just, well, it's important on the national level. We all know that, right? It is important on the state level. By God, we know that. But it's super important on the local level for those same reasons, and because the decisions we make that are made here will impact our residents more directly and more immediately. And housing being one of those. And that's at the top of the list. That's everybody's concern. Yes. And it's time for us to have a fresh perspective in how we address those issues. And it's just time for a change. And I want to be a part of that.
Well, one more thing that I found in your advocacy is you're not about the quick Band-Aid, or I have to act right now to do this or that because there's a political pressure. You're for a studied, methodical approach. And that is sorely missing in these last few years, in my opinion.
I agree. And I think that I honestly can't say I know what direction the city is going in right now. If I'm being honest, like I feel like there's a lot of development for development's sake, development without building what we need, a lot of lack of interest or whatever the reason is for encouraging more developers to fit what the city needs.
Right.
I liken Raleigh to, the beautiful prom queen that doesn't know her value, right? So she's kind of just giving it to all the developers with an empty promise and a pocket full of money. I don't think the development is bad. We need that for growth, but I do think that there's a way that we can do it and do it better and more equitably and reasonably than what we've done. What I keep hearing is with some of the decisions we're making, we spent a lot of time, we invested a lot of, time doing this. And I constantly say, well, just because you spent a lot of time making a poor decision doesn't mean you should invest more time in seeing it through, right? At some point we have to stop so that we don't see ourselves 10 years down the line spending millions more to fix issues that we could have fixed now if we take time to really stop and consider what the issues are and come up with possible solutions.
Well, that is sorely lacking on many of our current leaders. So I really appreciate you being that citizen's heart and the advocate for the entire Raleigh. For my audience, do you have any events coming up? How do we get in touch with you? How can my friends and fellow citizens support your candidacy?
Yes. Well, one, please, if you can consider volunteering for our campaign, helping us canvass, helping us do phone calls, helping us at the polls, that would be great. Donate.
It costs money.
Please. I always say the revolution must be funded. So please give funds. I can be reached on Facebook at Omakaiey. That's my last name, Omakaiye, 4 Oak City. So that's Omakaiey for Oak City on Facebook, and Omakaiey for oakcity.com is our is our web address. And Omakaiey for Oak City at Gmail is our email address. It's very synergy. I'm putting synergy into it. You all can reach me that way. As far as upcoming events, I am starting to do pop-ups. Mm-hmm. We have one September 26th, Thursday, September 26th at the Juiced Bar. That's over there by St. Aug. We are hosting, it's going to be an open mic, but they're allowing me to do a pop-up where I can answer questions and talk about my campaign. I will also be at other small businesses like the Green Monkey coming up. But if they follow me on my Facebook page, they can see our flyer for all the events that we're having coming up that we'll be posting next week. Please reach out so that we can, if I'm emailed or you go on our website, you can join our listserv. That way you're kept up on some of the events that we're doing. But definitely, I can't speak enough about those donations. $5, $50, $500, $5,000. Please, somebody give me $5,000. But we will take all that anybody can do to help us. And honestly, the main thing that can be done is spreading the word, letting people know about my candidacy, letting people know about my name, sharing our page to your page so more people know, and coming out to vote. Vote for me. As much as we need to raise funds, dollars can't vote. People vote. So as much as people can spread the word about my campaign, join this movement, and make sure that people come out to vote for me in District C.
Well, Raleigh, and especially District C, candidate Omakaiey, all this and more is in your backyard. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Robert. I appreciate it.
Yep. We'll see you at the polls and at the dais.
See you at the polls.
Thank you. Bye-bye.